There's a lot of comments online going, "Oh man, he doesn't stand a chance against Jake Paul. I saw how the Masvidal fight went."
Yeah, that's hilarious.
It just doesn't. It doesn't seem fair though to judge this fight based on one knockout.
I mean, if you're under the illusion that social media is fair and people on there are smart, you're going to be really disappointed. Really, really disappointed. I would take everything that you read on Instagram comments or Twitter comments with a grain of salt. Um, Listen, I hit with a good shot. It was the only time in 21 professional fights that I was stunned or knocked down. And man, it happens sometimes. It happened at a really bad time for me.
What do you remember from that fight?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Do you remember anything? Like, do you remember the fight starting?
I remember the staring at him in the pre-fight thing. And that's it.
And then what's the first thing you remember after that?
I was in the hospital with my wife.
No way.
Yeah.
And that was your wife telling you about all the things, like obviously you were conscious.
She didn't tell me. I was just like, I remember, I mean, the first thing I remember is I was like, I remember said, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm in the hospital. This probably didn't go so well, huh?" And then I remember thinking like, I didn't feel like super sweaty or sore. So I'm like, shit, it must have been fast, huh? And she's
Huh.
like, "Yup." And I'm like, F, you know? And then, then that was it. We went to the after party.
Did you went to the after party?
Yeah. My
Did
friends were
you
there. I would, yeah.
did you have any point where, like, you hear sometimes when guys wake up from a knockout where, they can't figure out what day it is or what city they're in,
No,
or
not at all. Once it was there, so I actually the first memory was I remember Luke Rockhold was right in front of me, and I thought, well, that was our first time. I'm like, fuck, in the hospital. Luke Rockhold's right there, and then Amy was right there. I'm like, Amy, I'm in the hospital, huh? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, damn it,
Hmm.
yeah,
How did you envision? Obviously, that's not how you envisioned, that
yeah.
fight ending. What was the game plan for that fight?
Take it on and beat him up. He doesn't wrestle all that well, as evidence between and that's why I said the Marty fight the second time is kind of dumb because Usman won 5 rounds to 0. It wasn't. People are claiming it's competitive, but I think that's like because they want to remember it that way because they like George a lot more than they like Usman. Usman's very unlikable, so they want to remember it as being relatively competitive when it really wasn't. And then if you look at other fights, Damian Maia wrestled him. Like there's a whole bunch of people who've taken George down a whole bunch, and that was the game plan. That's something I've done better than almost anyone. Right? I mean, really, Khabib and Damian Maia, and there's very few people who have been as effective with their takedowns as I have.
Yeah.
So that was the plan.